As we welcome in the month of August, our tri-state students should be excited about getting back to school, seeing old friends, making new ones, and breaking in a backpack that shows off their personality, all while returning to an engaging learning environment where teachers are at the front of the classroom. But all that continues to be overshadowed by the changes forced on our students by this pandemic. Parents, teachers, and leaders stuck between the crossroads of a good education, a strong economy, and a healthy community. Joining me now is Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear from Frankfort. Governor, thank you for taking the time to speak with us. How are you and the family doing as we enter the 6th month of this health crisis?
Well, like every other family out there, our days are a little bit like Groundhog Day right now. And we face a lot of the same anxieties, concerns, even fears that others face. You know, I have two school-age children. My son, Will, is going into 6th grade. My daughter, Lila, is going into 5th grade. And so we are all focused on how we can get control of this virus so that we can get our kids ultimately back in school. We can protect our economy, and we can save lives and protect people's health.
Governor, we know some districts, including Louisville and Indianapolis, are choosing to begin the year with complete remote learning. Here in the tri-state, most of our western Kentucky districts were already planning for an end-of-the-month start to in-person lessons when you called for the Bluegrass schools to delay their opening until the 3rd week of August. Is that enough time, or should more districts be considering a 100% virtual start to the year?
Well, my goal is to try to get our kids back in the classroom. We know that it provides a better education. It supports the emotional health, that socializing with friends and building bonds is so important to development. And parents like me are going absolutely crazy with their kids at home all the time and trying to teach them math unsuccessfully. But to do that, we've got to make sure it's safe. None of us want to send our kids in an environment where they're exposed to danger, or that they can come home and expose caregivers, grandparents, and others to this virus. So what's critical is over the next couple weeks that we see this Commonwealth getting better control on the virus. And we are at least moving in that direction. So in the month of June, moving into the first part of July, we were seeing some really concerning growth in the virus. Some weeks we were seeing a 50% increase from the last week. But since we have had that facial covering mandate where everybody has to wear a mask, the last 3 weeks we've gone from growth of 40% or 50% in cases week over week to down to about 4 or 5%. So we are stopping the growth. Now we've got to get to a plateau, and we hope to get to a decline. But sadly, everything right now deals with our ability to control the virus. Now, whether we can do it successfully is the question on having a healthy economy and on having safe schools. So we all want to get there. We all want to do it safely. And unfortunately, we have to watch week to week to make sure that that's going to happen.
Governor, how closely tied is our return to the classroom with getting our economy back on its feet? We know there are families out there who had to choose between a job and watching their children when schools closed last spring. For some, that was cutting the household from 2 incomes to 1. For single income families, it was devastating. How do you ensure that those families are not left on the unemployment line because they don't have a safe place for their children to return to?
This virus is cruel. It is unfair, and it is devastating in that every part of our economy or our daily lives is attacked and turned upside down because of it. We used to think that the economy and public health were kind of battling back and forth in what we needed to do and how to balance the two. But now we know that those two, and getting kids back in school and having daycare, are all connected. It's all about taking the steps that help us control and tamp down this virus. It's about wearing the facial coverings, staying 6 feet apart, not having more than 10 people over to your house. Those things are making a difference. If we can control the numbers, if we can ensure that we don't overwhelm our healthcare system, we can continue to open our economy. We can get those kids back in school, and we can save lives and protect the health of Kentuckians. It is now all interconnected. So we want to get our kids back out there. We need everybody out there wearing a facial covering. If you go to a place and see a huge crowd, that's preventing us from getting our kids back in school. So let's make sure we're taking the steps and doing the things to reach the goals that we all so desperately want to reach.
When we spoke last, you talked about the possibility of an at-risk teacher being paired with at-risk children for online lessons, which seemed like a very viable option for those who really don't feel comfortable returning to the classroom. Is that something that you and Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman were able to work with educators to set up?
We're actually going to have some news today about additional flexibility that will help out in the support. There. This is pretty basic. It means that at-risk kids that may have severe asthma, they're more at risk to this virus. They should have the option to stay home and do virtual learning, even if others are going back in the classroom. Same thing with teachers. Those that have underlying health conditions or fall into the at-risk areas shouldn't be forced back into a classroom. They should have the option to support those other students, and there are going to be some families that opt, maybe because grandmom and granddad are raising those kids. They're in the danger zone. They may opt to do the at-home virtual learning. We've got to have that flexibility. And on the state level, we are looking every day at different regulations and others that we can change so that we provide the maximum amount of flexibility for our school districts. But we need our school districts to take advantage of that. Let's make sure that we're not forcing at-risk kids or at-risk teachers into the classroom. Let's do this in a smart and thoughtful way where we put our health first, but we are able to still provide that quality education.
We know that every precaution is being put in place. Protections including masks, deep cleaning schedules, social distancing protocols. But is there actually enough PPE and tests available to ensure every school district has what they need?
Well, we're working every day to increase that testing capacity and the PPE. Right now, that is probably less of a concern than where the virus is at the moment. You know, when the virus is spreading really significantly, you can't test your way out of it. And testing lets us know when people have it and when we need to isolate them. But it's truly those prevention steps that are going to get us to a place where we can not only open schools, because anybody can open a school, but you got to keep it open. We've already seen some Indiana schools that have opened and had to shut. We want to make sure that we can open and stay open at that right time. So that is truly everybody wearing a mask, and not just at school, but at home too. And it's also making sure that we don't have parents taking their kids to the beach, to a place like Florida or Alabama where this virus is out of control. Think about it. We could start opening a school. Everybody could be negative. We could be in that good place. And then one family goes on that vacation, brings it back, and it spreads through work and church and school. So we need to not just start with good practices. We need to keep those good practices up. And remember that we are all connected. And if one of us makes one of those decisions, it can impact everybody around us.
Governor, we know that extra days are being given to district staff that need to quarantine for possible exposure. But what if they do have the virus and need to take several weeks off? How are those days handled among our districts?
We want to be supportive, especially of those that are exposed to the virus or that are having to deal with COVID itself, and we need to be fully supportive so that we don't create a pressure where they would go back into schools or back to work. We saw that early on in the virus when some companies didn't have paid leave, and those that were living week to week were showing back up even though they might have symptoms. We cannot let that happen in our schools, and too much is at stake. So I think that if we have that flexibility that we need, for someone that may be quarantining for 2 weeks to be able to help on the virtual side. And you may even need more help on the virtual side than you do in that classroom of having that extra teacher that can reach out to individual students. I know that it's a lot harder for my kids to learn math while watching it virtually, but maybe having that teacher that has that conference call afterwards to walk you through it, those type of steps, which we can do, we can keep everybody busy, can hopefully, if we're at a virtual learning stage, help make sure our kids don't fall behind.
And when it comes to fall sports, we've seen throughout the region how quickly that virus can spread among teams. Kentucky is trying to move ahead with that traditional football season that we all know and love. Governor, will sports be the first to halt if numbers start to increase within school communities?
Well, we always have to put the education of our children before sports. We have seen some spread in sports, but what we have seen is pushing back at least the traditional start of fall sports in an effort, again, to get better containment. I think we will have fall sports if it is safe to do so. But just like the head of the KHSAA said the other day, and he hit it exactly right, let's make sure that school comes first. But if and when it's safe, we want to make sure we get those sports in. I've got 2 kids that play. And again, if it's safe, I want them to be able to play. But we all want to put their health and safety first, and their education right up there with it.
Governor, is there anything else you would like to add tonight?
I'd just like to tell people that I'm hopeful. Even at a time where we have more cases per week and per day than we have seen thus far, even with a significant growth that I think we are starting to stop, I'm really hopeful. The data from the last couple of weeks shows that wearing these facial coverings can significantly stop the spread of this virus. And that means if we all come together and do something fairly simple, even if we don't like it and nobody likes wearing one, then we've got a real opportunity to protect each other's health, to protect our economy, and to get our kids back in school. But we need everybody on board. If we come together, we can get really close to being back to our old normal, but we need everybody's help. And I hope all the parents out there know I approach this not just as governor, but as one of them. I want to see my kids back in school, but I will always try to provide the advice that I would want as a parent to hear from a governor during this time, to know the risks my kids face, but also to know the risk that their teachers face. And we have to make sure that we are not exposing our educators to a type of risk that we wouldn't walk in to a classroom and accept. But we'll get there. And we're still going to be dealing with this virus probably through the end of the year. But we know what it takes, and we are strong enough. This is our calling as a people and as a generation. So let's do what it takes to defeat COVID-19, to lift up our children, to protect our seniors. Let's do this right.
And in the words of yourself, we're all in this together, right?
And we will get through this together.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you.